So today's review is of a pretty luxurious fragrance, specifically Creed Vetiver. So Creed has long been known as one of the most luxurious fragrance brands around. They used to only make fragrances for royalty, and only more recently they service the common folk. But here is the fragrance. So Vetiver is one of my favorite notes. It's a nice kind of natural, slightly musky sort of scent. This came out in 2004. It's actually about 20 years old. And it's unisex, so let's give it a try, see what it's all about. So it's very nice, actually. Right off the bat, it's immediately very kind of cozy and very natural. There's not too many notes in this fragrance overall. The top notes can mainly consist of bergamot, ginger, and mandarin orange, and you get those right away. The citrusiness of the orange and the bergamot, it's nice because it's definitely present. It has that freshness, that juiciness. It's not too bright though, not too in your face like some citrus notes are in certain fragrances. This is more of a very smooth type of citrus, which is kind of a different approach to it, because usually citrus notes, especially in the opening, they're very crisp, very hard, but this is more of kind of a smooth type of citrus. Mixed with the ginger. The ginger, I would say, is not as strong as the citrus. It is there though. You get a little bit of that spark from the ginger, which is a very kind of naturally sharp note, but definitely is not as strong as the citrus notes alone. So you do just, combining those three notes in the opening, it creates a type of freshness that's smoother than a typical fresh opening, which is kind of hard to describe accurately, but it is very nice. It has a certain warmth to it. Then the middle notes is where it's at. The Haitian vetiver, sandalwood, and iris. So these are all really great notes. The Haitian vetiver, you definitely get that pretty soon after the opening. It has that certain warmth to it. I always kind of describe vetiver as a little bit grassy, a little bit musky, even breezy a little bit, and just with this underlying warmth to it. It is a very unique type of note. If you've never smelled vetiver before, it's kind of hard to think of what it would actually smell like, but it is a very pleasant note overall. Then mixed with the sandalwood. Sandalwood is very complementary to vetiver just in general because they're pretty similar. They both have that kind of woodsiness and warmth to them. Then the iris. I will say the iris is pretty faint. Although it is still there in the background, you can kind of detect this faintly sweet note of the iris, which is a very nice note just in general. You know, I really enjoy iris. Then for the base notes, there's only two of them. There's musk and ambergris. So if you watch some of my previous videos, you may have heard me explain that ambergris is a type of musk that comes from Wales. Is a very strange note in perfumery, but it's a pretty strong type of musk, then mixed with just regular musk here. I would say the ambergris is definitely present. You often come across ambergris in various Creed fragrances. Another one that has it is Green Irish Tweed. It has a certain distant muskiness. And it's quite nice because it grounds the entire fragrance and makes sure that these lighter notes don't just float away, you know, after an hour or so. It creates some longevity. Now, the general musk is definitely not as pronounced or as characteristic as the ambergris itself, which once you smell it, you kind of can recognize it pretty easily. And it does well to complement pretty much all the notes, actually, throughout this fragrance. The citrus notes, the ginger, the wood notes, the vetiver. It definitely kind of crawls through the entire fragrance and kind of sticks everything together, so everything works really well. And the fragrance overall is interesting because it's part of it is a little bit fresh, and then the other part is a little bit musky. So it's kind of, you know, bouncing between these two different sides of this scent. But overall, it's very, very natural, which I like. It has a sort of natural warmth to it, a little bit of woodsiness, grassiness. I think it's definitely a very solid and reliable, yet elegant type of fragrance. And as I mentioned before, this is a unisex option, and I definitely think it is a really good unisex option because, again, it's super natural. Not in the ghostly sense, but just very, very natural smelling. And overall, it has a certain prominence to it, which I also didn't expect. It has that, like, you could tell it's gonna last a while. Now, it's not a super strong fragrance. I think it's probably designed to be a little bit more subtle, more natural, that sort of thing. But again, the way it sticks to the skin and projects has a certain strength to it. I would say the longevity on this is probably around 6 hours, maybe 7, but it is a more intimate type of projection. You know, it's not gonna go, you know, flying across the room or anything. It's more kind of in your general vicinity, this nice kind of warm aura that it projects, which is definitely nice if you're looking for a fragrance that isn't, you know, too crazy, too in your face. You want something a little bit more subtle, more intimate, that sort of thing. This definitely does that. And the quality of the fragrance is, you don't even have to really mention it, just because, again, Creed, they've been around since the 1700s producing fragrances for royalty and aristocrats and people like that. And even today, even though, you know, their fragrances are on the public market, they're still very, very high quality. Now, their prices do reflect that. You know, most of their fragrances, including this one, are very expensive. But if you're looking for an extremely high quality fragrance, you know, that will last a long time, it has a unique smell to it, and again, just quality overall, Creed is definitely the brand to provide that. And of course, if you really like the note of vetiver, this is definitely the way to go, because it does really center on that Haitian vetiver note, so it's very pleasant, very warm, cozy, and just kind of a unique approach to the vetiver note overall. So, I mean, just in general, I think this is a really nice fragrance. It's definitely kind of a comforting, elegant, sophisticated sort of fragrance. I think it's great. But that is pretty much my review of Creed Vetiver here. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, you can leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.